AI has arrived in the art world and is causing some serious Black Mirror level mindfuckery. It's happening in visual art with apps like Lenza, which is where your whole newsfeed got their hot new profile pics from. It's happening in music with AI-generated metal, classical, and even imitations of popular artists. And as with most new technology, it seems like by the time we're discussing the ethics of what's happening, it's already way too late. So, is this game over for creators? Should I have gone and done that coding bootcamp after all? Or is this a golden opportunity for those who are willing to get with the times? Well, part 1, unfortunate economic realities.
They took our job!
Can a robot write a symphony? Can a robot turn a canvas into a beautiful masterpiece?
Can you?
Truly unique art that touches people's hearts and minds will never be replaced. Why? Because the people who make it aren't making any money anyway. Don't worry, your 15 Bandcamp followers aren't going anywhere. And the tiny fraction of creators that get all the money and attention will keep getting all the money and attention because the highest levels of artistic success are about so much more than just art. Like, an AI program could maybe write Justin Bieber's next single, but it's not going to replace the phenomenon of Justin Bieber. The way a million teenage girls hang on his every word as he philosophizes about the important issues.
Favorite flavor of ice cream? I have to go with cotton candy on that one.
And it's not going to replace art that really pushes boundaries and moves the culture forward. Art that does that, practically by definition, has to be unique.
This has never been done before.
But here's the thing. Art is way more than just inspiration and self-expression. Or maybe I should say, way less. This is also art. It's commercial art. And it's not trying to push cultural boundaries and convey deep truths. It's trying to sell sneakers and car insurance.
It's true.
And you'd better believe that everything from the color scheme, to the font, to the sound of that ukulele was focus group tested and proven to make you more likely to hand over your dollars.
It's true.
Commercial art and music is where this battle is really going to play out. Because where AI may lack in creating things that are genuinely new, it excels at pumping out countless iterations of bland, derivative art. And in the commercial world, that's kind of where the money's at. So if anybody should be worried about their jobs, it's whoever keeps writing jingles like this. Because an algorithm probably could spit out those kinds of things faster and better than a person could.
That sounds like a job for me.
And sure, it's sad whenever anybody loses their jobs. And artists are already just a struggling group trying to claw and hustle their way to making a half-decent living. But the reality is, it was never the goal or the obligation of the insurance company to give a musician a job writing a jingle, or to give an illustrator a job designing a logo. Their goal was always to sell insurance.
It's who we are.
It's what we do.
It's a harsh economic reality, but you just can't get that far moralizing about technology like that. If people can do things in a cheaper and easier way, they just will. And you can't really tell them not to. Or can you?
I try to convince people to slow down AI, to regulate AI. This was futile.
Part 2. Should this be legal? There are some serious ethical concerns around these AI systems, and the people are demanding blood. In order for the AI art generator Lenza to give me these so-called magic avatars, it needs to be trained on thousands and thousands of images by real artists, which as it turns out is just slightly controversial.
This particular app is also receiving some serious backlash.
It's going to threaten our jobs while simultaneously stealing from our work.
It has reignited the debate among artists over the ethics of AI art.
The issue is that these AI systems are being fed a lot of copyrighted material, and the owners of that intellectual property aren't being compensated or credited. Or so the narrative goes. What I'm wondering is, 1, is that true? And 2, is that actually unethical?
Well, let's find out.
Lenza is essentially an app built on top of Stable Diffusion, a deep learning text-to-image model released in 2022. Stable Diffusion is trained on an open database of images called Lion 5B. Lion 5B contains billions of images scraped from all across the internet, and their website actually addresses the copyright question. Kind of. They don't say this directly, but essentially, yes, the database contains copyrighted material, and the responsibility is on the user to navigate the legalities of that. This database is open source, and you can actually search it, and hey, look at that. It's a poster that I commissioned and worked on for a festival that I run, which is partly my intellectual property.
Give it back!
So the answer to my first question is pretty straightforward. Yes, some AI systems are trained on copyrighted material, but the ethics behind that are still really complicated, and it's how that training manifests into the final product that is the crux of the issue. So we're going to have to dig deeper.
Deeper and deeper. Way down.
In 2012, my band Out of the Beard Space released our creatively titled album Out of the Beard Space 3, which featured my song Train Ride Samba, which is not a samba. Sorry. The song features this syncopated keyboard part, which interacts with the bass and drum groove to produce this stuttered, tripping kind of feel. Pretty cool, right?
So original. Like nothing that's been heard before.
Well, hold up. Truth be told, this keyboard part, along with the way it interacts with the groove, was pretty heavily inspired by the song Proclamation by Gentle Giant. In fact, I wrote it right after I learned Proclamation. So, did I rip off Gentle Giant? Am I an art thief? Well, I hope we'd all agree that I'm not, at least not any more so than anybody else. When I tell you and show you exactly what inspired what, you can hear the similarity, but I think that my song is unique and original, because it's a unique blend of the things that were influencing me at the time, which is what all art is, right? You spend your life taking in music and art and culture, and when you go to express yourself artistically, what comes out is some kind of synthesis of everything that's influenced and inspired you. So, what's the difference between me synthesizing musical elements and an AI doing it?
That's a good question.
Well, that depends on whether that's even the right analogy. What if instead of synthesizing things that have inspired me into something new, I created a recording that was literally a collage of other recordings? Like if I chopped up that Gentle Giant song and I put my own beat over it. Is that a scenario where I ought to credit and compensate the original artist? Seems like it obviously is. What if the original source material has been altered to the point of being unrecognizable? Or if the final product is a composite of so many things that you'd never recognize any of the individual sources that got fed into the algorithm? Is that a scenario where you need to credit and pay the artists? Maybe? So, which is it? Are these AI systems abstracting from what they've been trained on and creating something genuinely new in a way that mimics human inspiration? Or are parts of the source material actually showing up in the final product, kind of like a collage? Is this exact leaf from my festival's poster showing up in some other piece of art out there? Because that's my leaf.
I'll see you in court.
This really matters, because a collage of copyrighted material is absolutely copyright infringement, no matter how little of the source material was used and no matter how much it was changed. And there's reasons to think that this is what's happening. In this viral Twitter thread, somebody pointed out that a lot of these Lenza portraits contain the mangled signatures of the artist whose work was fed into the algorithm, clearly showing that it's basically creating a collage of other art. The CEO of Prisma Labs says, "The notion of remains of artists' signatures is based on the flawed idea that neural networks might combine existing images. On this occasion, it mimics the paintings. AI understands the sign-offs as an inherent style feature and imitates them." In other words, Prisma Labs has also said, AI learns how to generate art in a semi-similar way to humans. AI develops a mental model, the general operational how-to principles that can be broadly applied in the process of content creation. Should we buy that? I don't know. I mean, it's not like it's unheard of for huge companies to fudge the truth to protect their financial interests. But if it's true that AI can synthesize something new in a way that's similar to how human inspiration works, then as far as I can tell, it's fair game. I don't see how you can make a legal argument to outlaw training an AI on a database of copyrighted material if the resulting product doesn't contain that copyrighted material. That would be like outlawing inspiration. Because we were all trained on copyrighted material. Whatever's actually happening under the hood probably varies from app to app, database to database, and is certainly too technical for me to understand. One thing is for certain. This is sure to add a whole layer of complexity onto the already murky legal territory of copyright law and intellectual property.
In another field, music can now be produced entirely by electronics.
Is all this good? Is it fair? Well, it doesn't matter, because it's happening. And we can either kick and scream, or we can learn to adapt and coexist with it. Maybe we can even thrive with it. If we're smart about it, I think this doesn't have to be some evil boogeyman here to take our jobs, but rather an incredible tool that's going to take out a lot of the grunt work. And in that sense, this is just a continuation of what's been happening in tech for a long time. They said it was game over when the drum machine and synthesizer were invented. They said the same thing at the dawning of the age of the home studio. People sound the alarm whenever something new comes along and shakes things up, but creators are still here, with more and better tools to be creative than ever before. And if you work hard to be great at what you do, and you're smart about carving out a place for yourself in the industry, and you're not an asshole, you'll probably be fine. And if it's the case that a tidal wave of derivative AI art is going to come and wash away some opportunities, maybe there's a silver lining, that the best thing that creators can do to break through is create things that are truly personal and unique. Hopefully, the moral of the story can be, if you're going to make art that's exceptional, that's really saying something, and is truly worthy of imitation.